Right, joining us in the post-game press conference for University of Tennessee, head coach Kellie Harper, along with student athletes Jordan Horston and Jordan Walker. Coach, we'll begin with your opening statement, please.
Yeah, obviously this is not the outcome that we were hoping for. We've got a lot of hurt folks in our locker room right now, so it's a pretty tough one. Hats off to Virginia Tech. Obviously, they're playing great right now. They came in and played their game. They did a great job sticking with their game plan. They, got it inside. Obviously, Amor was aggressive, and then their first half defense I thought was really and our offense was really the difference in the game.
We'll open it up to questions. Start right over here.
Hi, Michelle Smith from the Next. Jordan Horston, this one's for you. You guys cut it to 1. What happened after that in your mind?
Honestly, I don't even remember everything. It's a blur right now. I knew that we was getting stops and scoring. I can't even tell you what happened. Honestly, I gotta go. It's a blur. Sorry.
Right back there.
David Eckert, Knoxville News Sentinel. For either of the players, I mean, obviously that slow start, Coach, you kind of touched on it. What do you think kind of contributed to the way you came out of the gates there?
I just think on our offense, we just weren't moving enough. I felt like we were locked in and focused before the game. We had good energy and warm-up, so nothing with that. But we just were a little stagnant on the offensive end. So
I feel like, we was playing into how they wanted us to play. We took 12 threes before halftime. That's not us. And we wasn't as aggressive as we should have been. But hats off to them. They're a great team, and hats off to us. I mean, you look at our journey, how far we've come. And like I said this before, I wouldn't want to step out on that court with no other team.
I'm going to take a question from the Zoom room. Gabriella Lewis, go ahead.
Gabrielle Lewis, the Next. Jordan Walker, I was just hoping you could talk about this year at Tennessee. It really looked like you didn't want things to end out there tonight. What intensity did you bring, and just reflecting on the season here?
well, I guess you want me to cry. But, this year and all my years at Tennessee have been a blessing. Without coming to Tennessee, I don't know where I would be. I'm so blessed and fortunate to be here and have played on the teams that I have been on. This year was amazing. It showed me a lot about myself. It showed me a lot about the people that I was with every single day. And I'm just really proud of, where we ended up. Like Jordy touched on, a lot of teams, who went through what we went through at first, it probably would have folded. It would have been different. It wouldn't have been a Sweet 16 team, but I think it's just a testament to, who that team is and how special it is. So, this year really meant a lot to me with it being my last. I didn't want it to end, but again, credit to Virginia Tech. They played really well, and I love my teammates, love my girls, and yeah.
David Cunningham, Tech Sideline. Jordan, you guys turned them over a bunch of times in a row, cut the lead down. What did you like about the way you guys fought there to get yourself back in the game?
It was down 13 or 14, 13, 12. One of those. We was down, and we didn't lay down. And that just shows to, who we are. We don't back down no matter what. I feel like we fought, but like I said, credit to Virginia Tech. They just knocked down some big shots, made some more plays than we made. But credit to our effort. We wanted it so bad. Like, it hurts because we really wanted it. And I feel like we gave everything we got. We had just our slow start in the beginning kind of hurt us.
I'm going to go back to the Zoom room. Maria Cornelius, go ahead.
For both Jordans, you play in the SEC, which is a very physical league. But was this game, even by SEC standards, maybe extra at times on both ends of the court?
Yeah, I would say it was pretty physical on both ends of the court tonight.
Yeah, I have a busted lip, so
Me too. But,
it's pretty physical.
It's March, so
Yeah.
you're going to have to play through that.
Do we have any other questions for the student athletes? All right, Jordan and Jordan, thank you very much for your time.
you.
We appreciate it. All right, the floor is open this time for questions for Coach Harper. We'll start with Tim Booth.
Hey, Kelly, Tim Booth from the AP. I think it was about early in the second quarter you yelled at your team, "Who are we?" I think it was after another three-point attempt. What, I guess, wasn't working offensively for you guys early, and did you feel like you were just playing into what Virginia Tech was wanting you to do?
Yeah, Virginia Tech's scouting report was to crowd the paint. There's no doubt they wanted to keep us out of there, and they did a good job with our first attack, and we got really impatient. Thought we were really stagnant offensively, and therefore we were settling. And we took way too many threes for us in the first half. Now, if they're falling, that's one thing, but they're not going in, and we're taking jumper after jumper after jumper, and because we didn't get enough ball movement and player movement, then we couldn't get to the offensive boards. They're already in rebounding positions. So, our offense we just weren't able to get downhill. And you got to credit, obviously, Virginia Tech and their game plan, but would like to have seen us move it a little bit better.
Lindsay Schnell, USA Today. Kelly, you've played a really tough schedule. You've seen a lot of really good teams. How good is Virginia Tech?
I think, everybody watches and knows how good they are offensively because they have such a balanced attack. They really can score from 5 positions in their own right. But I think today, defensively, they showed some physicality and really game plan defense. They control the pace a lot of times, which allows them to play with 6, maybe 7 players. So they're a number 1 seed. They should have been a number 1 seed. They won their tournament. They're playing great right now.
Michelle Smith, the next Kelly. That you guys pressed it. You had the full court press. You cut it to 1. What happened after that?
I think we had 3 straight turnovers. I think we cut it to 1, and I may be wrong on that, but I know we turned the ball over. In those opportunities, you got to capitalize, and we missed some free throws. I'm not sure how many we missed in the 4th, but I feel like we missed some in the 4th. Let's see. Yeah, we missed 5 free throws in the 4th quarter. So going down the stretch, you've got to be able to knock those down as well.
Sabrina Merchant, The Athletic. In terms of that press, was it something specifically that you saw in Virginia Tech that you wanted to attack, or was it more about just speeding up the pace for yourselves?
Well, we're down, so we had to speed the game up a little bit, try to turn them over, get some opportunities. And, once we got a couple turnovers, I thought they played a little bit passive. I think towards the middle of the 4th, they started getting a little bit more aggressive, attacking the press. But, our players utilized their athleticism, their length, and we mixed it up a little bit, too, with the presses we were throwing at them.
Mark Berman, the Roanoke Times. Obviously, Amor had a big game for them. What were you was there anything you were hoping to do defensively against her that did not work out tonight? It's
just really tough. She's such a high volume shooter. You can't keep the ball out of her hands. We switched out on some screens. We went over some screens. Unfortunately, we went under some screens, and therefore she hit a few shots there. We had a few breakdowns, but really with her, you're just trying to make it tough, make it as tough as possible. And, you know, she hit a couple really tough shots.
Go to the Zoom room. Maria Cornelius, go ahead.
Coach, obviously you were in the room there with both of your players, emotional. Just how hard is it to see them like this? And what did you tell this team after the game?
Oh, it's hard. It's really hard. You know, you don't go into a game with this speech prepared. You don't. And really at this point you don't talk about the game. You talk about the season. And I told them I was proud of them. I told them that what they went through this year would have broken a lot of people or a lot of teams. It would have. And they were fun to coach. I love them. I really do. And I hate that we're not playing any more basketball. You know, they wanted it so bad. They really did. And I know everybody does. Goodness, I get that. But, you know, it's hard. It's hard to walk in that locker room and see the tears and know that this season's over.
Got one more from the Zoom room. Gabriella Lewis, go ahead.
Gabriella Lewis, the next. You've touched on this, but just reflecting more on the season of starting out rough and then finding your footing at the end and then having to end like this.
Yeah, obviously we had to figure some things out early on, and we did not have a schedule that gave us any mercy as we were trying to figure ourselves out. And, you know, we had no margin for error early on, and, you know, we had several losses, but, well, they still believed. They believed that they could be something special, and I'm proud of them for that. I'm proud of them for coming back to practice every single day, willing to get better and willing to fight, and they did. And you know, we're sitting here with back-to-back Sweet 16 opportunities because of that, because of their belief. And you know, you want to keep playing, right? Everybody does, but you know, it's been a special group for us to coach, and that's why it hurts.
Coach David Eckert, Knoxville News Sentinel. I wanted to ask you about Jillian's minutes in the second half. Did that have something to do with the press, or was there another reason for that?
Well, I thought she at one point I didn't think she was playing her best. You know, I thought it was a tough night, but then we decided to really spread out their defense. We put 5 perimeter players on the court. And that's where we found our success offensively, and we just had to roll with it. You know, we had been so stagnant early on. As soon as we found any success offensively, we just had to go with that lineup, and it just didn't have our bigs in there. We went pretty small to try to attack, and you know, at least physical enough that we could match up on the other end.
David Cunningham, Tech Sideline. Kelly, you mentioned a little bit at the beginning. What kind of led to the early struggles? What kind of helped Virginia Tech get out in front, and you guys never really felt like at the beginning had a grasp of it until you guys cut it to 1?
Yeah, offensively we just couldn't find ourselves there in the first half. You know, they did a great job of taking away transition opportunities. They had our post pushed out. We weren't getting a lot of deep post touches. We weren't getting a lot of paint touches, and that's who we are. That's the strength of our team, is getting the ball to the paint, and we were settling for jumpers. We made a few, but not enough to continue to play that way. And you know, we talked about it at halftime, and they just had to try to find some adjustments throughout the second half to crack their defense. You know, they did such a good job of collapsing in. And, you know, when you shoot 3 for 17 from the 3, you know, kicking out 3, that's not a problem for them. They were fine with that.
Michelle.
Kelly, you coach one of the legendary programs in this game. The Final Four is going to have no UConn, no Stanford, no Notre Dame, no Baylor. Is this, you know, what do you think about this for the game?
I'll be honest with you. I think the way that the season has played out, it's showing right now in the outcomes of these games. It has been a wild season in women's basketball, and I think you see so many teams that have the ability to win big games. And at this point, it's not about your seed, it's about your matchup. And there are teams that just match up well, and we've seen that going down the stretch. And I think there are a lot of really good players in women's basketball. It's not just a few teams. There are a lot of really good players on a lot of different teams, and I think you're able to see some of that this year.
This will be our last question.
Just sort of building off of that, I mean, you've played a lot of really good teams this year, but does anyone match up to South Carolina in your estimation?
I think South Carolina is head and shoulders above everyone right now. That doesn't mean that they can't lose, but I think they've proven time and time again against so many different teams, different matchups, different lineups. To me, if you go undefeated, it's really special. They have no blemish. Like they're even their goof ups, they won, right? So they're really, really talented, and I think head and shoulders above everybody right now. Doesn't mean that they can't be beaten. That's why you play the games.
Coach, we appreciate your time. Thank you very much.